Hello everyone, you're watching Newcastle United Live and Times YouTube channel. My name's Rob and today I'm joined by Paul, Len and Owen to discuss Newcastle's 2-0 defeat down at Bournemouth last night. Very disappointing result. So without me waffling on any further, I'll pass you over to Paul. Paul, what was your take on the game last night?
Yeah, we don't want any more waffle, Rob. I went out for the match last night. I was quite looking forward to it. I thought we'll bounce back after the Dortmund defeat. Obviously trying to go on like we did against Arsenal and get another victory. But when I seen the team, I thought, oh God, we're down to bare bones. Yeah, the bench looked very weak, didn't it? He brought Lewis Hall in on the left. He dropped Tino. I was quite surprised at that. I thought he might have stayed in the side, but I think he was wanting to get some legs off the bench, wasn't he? I think that was his thinking there. Obviously, Noah Wilson, he was out. Eddie Howe saying he could be out a number of weeks now, which will be another blow. And when the match started, you're just watching it and you're thinking, what? I don't think this is going to go well. And now you can just see they were on the front foot. We looked a little bit leggy even early on. They had a couple of chances. Pope made a couple of good saves. I think the first chance we had really was when we broke and Longstaff had that shot and the keeper tipped it over. I think that was quite a good save, but I think either side of him and it would have been a goal. It was a good shot, really. We started linking up well, I think, on the left. When Gordon went there, he moved Joe Linton centrally. I think he put him in the middle. Miley, I thought Miley come in for his first start, 17-year-old. I think he looked quite composed on the ball. Some good touches. What I like about Miley is he always wants the ball. He's always asking for it. He's more mature than he 17, I think. But obviously when the match, I think, yes, I think. And obviously we got to half-time 0-0. He made a change. He brought Tino on. Obviously, Miggy went off after half an hour. That was another blow. Richie came on. Tino came on for Lewis Hall. I think he seems to take Lewis Hall a lot off at half-time, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
I didn't know if his confidence any good, because I thought he linked up quite well. I know that's Semeno. He was running riot in the first half. He was quite quick. They had some quite quick, lively players, didn't they? But as the half went on, and then obviously on the hour mark, they got a bit of luck when Willock just sort of kicked it, and I think Livramento and Shaw were caught flat-footed. Solanke got in ahead of them, and I don't know about you, but I thought Pope should have done better. I don't think he should be getting beat at your near post.
Agree,
not easily,
Yeah.
And then really it just sort of petered out, and they got it, and we're starting to concede goals off set pieces. I noticed now, because the other week we hadn't conceded from a set piece. Now I think that's 3 or 4 in the last 3 or 4 games. So we need to work on that, I think. But I think I just don't. We didn't seem to click at all, and obviously Longstaff went down. That was another concern. Almiron hamstring. Wilson could be out a number of weeks, so I think the breaks come at a good time. But I think we missed Bruno as well. We can't seem to win without him, can we? No. He was a big miss last night, even though Miley did well in the 6th role, I thought. But all in all, it was disappointing defeat, considering they've only won 1 game all season, haven't they?
Do you think all the games that we've played, and obviously the injuries, do you think last night it's just took its toll? It's just caught up.
Yeah, it's caught up. I had nothing off the bench really to change it. You could see they were well up for it, and at teams like that, you've got to get the first goal, and then their confidence goes. If then you're at the bottom, they got the goal, the crowd were lifted, and to be honest, they played quite well. I thought that they thoroughly deserved to beat them.
They looked a lot sharper. I thought a hell of a lot sharper. So, I mean, it could have been 5-0 on another day.
Yeah, decent side would have picked off. It would have been more than 2.
It's just we're lucky that we weren't playing Man City last night. So, but yeah, right. Are you done there, Paul?
Yeah, if you want me to be done, I'm done. Yeah.
Well, I thought you were just about done. Anyway, right, Len, what was your take on the game?
Well, I watched it in the King's Arms in Kilmarnock, and I'm just pleased we didn't do this podcast immediately after the final whistle, because I just felt really cheesed off about the whole thing. I thought it was like turning the clock back 3 years. And I know we've got injuries. I know all of that, and I know there's young kids playing before their time and all this sort of stuff. But I just felt, every time we went in for a ball, they were winning every 50-50. They were chasing the ball down right from the first minute. In fact, they were creating chances. And I just thought, right from front to back, I think there was a couple of players maybe came out with some credit, but which would be Nick Pope. I think without him, as you say, Rob, it could have been 5-0. And I think, as Paul likes to think, I just think it was just poor. I think everybody had, and as you say, the injuries. I mean, Fabian Shaw went down. I thought he wasn't going to get back up again. I thought, God, what we're going to do, yeah. And in midfield, I thought Miley had a good game. I think he's probably the bright spark out of it. And Ben Parkinson, is it Ben Parkinson who came on?
Yeah, he didn't get much of a touch, did he? I thought he was a bit out of his depth, really. It was no service, like.
He was. If you get a chance, go on the NUFC website. He does a good 5-minute video or an interview about his first match for Newcastle United. So that was a bit uplifting, really, when you listen to him talk. I think they could have scored a lot more. I mean, Solanke had a great game. He nearly did get a hat-trick. And, I think, as you say, if we'd been playing a decent side last night, we would have got an absolute pasting. And I think, I hate the international breaks, but it's a great time for an international break because we're struggling to get 11 players on the pitch. And I would say it's probably the worst somebody on here might disagree with us. I think possibly the worst performance since Eddie Howe became manager.
I thought that last night. Is it the worst performance?
Yeah, it is. It was.
It's up there, like, it's up there.
So that's it.
Villa was worse than that, I thought. Villa were away last season. Possibly, because we had a better side out there.
Yeah, if you take that.
But when you look at the opposition, though, Paul, Villa were flying when we played them. They were on a.
Yeah, I think just with the team we had out last night, Rob, it was always going to be difficult. Even though you'd expect still to win, it was just. I think it was the man of the defeat that just we didn't seem to create much. And Gordon up front, I didn't think Gans does it in the middle. He's better wide, isn't he?
Yeah. I think there was only from memory there was only three decent chances created. I thought Longstaff had a couple of canny efforts, and
the keeper won a trip, when he sort of had a free kick, and then the keeper sort of stopped it on the line.
Yeah, and there was one where Gordon got through and had a very weak shot. I think I suggested at the time that my 7-year-old granddaughter would have had a harder shot than that, like at the end. But I think Miggy going off. I don't know what do you think, Paul, with the Miggy injury? Is there any news on that?
He said hamstring, but they'll have to do tests on it. So you can't be too careful with it because if he plays on and he tears it, you're 3 months on.
And my final thought on the match was that I think Livramento should have started. I don't know why he was on the bench.
Yeah,
Other than that, it's a match to forget, and let's have a couple of weeks off football and get as many players back as we can. Going into what is an extremely busy period going up to Christmas.
Excellent. Well done, Len. Owen, do you want to have your take on last night's game? This is Owen, everyone. He's new to the show. We'll get back to that at the end of the show. So
yeah, no worries. I think Len and Anders have summed it up perfectly. I think it's the injuries. I don't want to make it as a cop out because I still think the team that we put out yesterday is good enough to beat Bournemouth, and that's no disrespect to Bournemouth, but we've only won one game all season. I think for me, there's a couple. I read this morning a couple of things. I mean, again, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you don't want to be overcritical on the players because with the amount of bad games we've had since Howe's sort of taken over, you can count on one hand. And I agree. Yesterday was probably the worst. I thought we're bad at Brighton, but you talked about you've got a full strength out of Brighton, but. There's two things for me. One of the things that we haven't brought up actually, and not that it matters because I still didn't think we deserved to win, but how that wasn't looked at for that pullback on Almiron. The first half was it? Or maybe I can't remember was it the first half or second half, but it wasn't even looked at on VAR. There's a photo, I don't know if you've seen the photo. There's a photo doing the rounds on on social media, and he's got it's practically a foot of shirt in his hand. It's just to not even look at it. I don't know if it's because of the situation against Arsenal last week where some controversy around the goal and stuff like that, but I just thought that was ridiculous. And I think the other thing, and again that's not taken away from Bournemouth because I think that deserved to win, but I think the The other thing for me is just the reliance on Bruno that we have. I think when he's not playing for Newcastle, we're just a completely different team. And I know, you know, had a good result at Man United in the Cup, but he's on the bench, and I don't know if he's got like an impact because his presence is there or whatever. But I wasn't overly confident going into that game yesterday simply because Bruno wasn't going to be playing, and I think that you know, we're down to the bare bones, and I get it. And it's not just what he brings in terms of his ability. He makes other players play better as well. I think Longstaff looks a little bit lost without Bruno. I think that he struggles through and what have you. But again, it's, you know, I'm being pedantic because it is one game. It's one game too far. We're down to the bones and what have you. But yeah, I mean, take on the game, I can't really add more to what Len and Anders has said in terms of really disappointed. But in the international break, can it come quick enough? In fact, I was saying yesterday, I watched it in the pub as well, and I was saying to the lads, we could do another World Cup. Like just have a good point.
Next week break.
So, yeah, but that was my take. I just disappointed, but you know, we've got to brush it off and move on to the next one, I guess.
The next one, is it Chelsea? Chelsea at
Chelsea,
yeah. Just to quickly touch on this, everyone's thoughts. What did you think of the Trippier and the fan incident? I didn't like what I seen. I just think, you know, I didn't like to see stuff like that. And our feelings and emotions were running high. And look, as a fan, you're entitled to your opinion. You know, it's a long way to go and stuff, and costs a lot of money. But I think, I don't know. Paul, what was your thoughts on it?
Well, he's since apologised, the lad, hasn't he? He said an apology this morning, so he was probably just tanked up with drinking.
Yeah,
I don't understand the way he's having, and he's paid his money. I can see both sides. But,
yeah.
You know, having to go at the players is fair enough if they're not giving everything, but them players did give everything.
Yeah.
They just had nothing more in the tank.
Yeah.
You know, you can see players when they don't try, and you can't level it. Really, at any house side, you can never really level at them not trying. They always put it in. You could just see it wasn't coming off. They had a few young'uns on. They were just simply knackered in it, like the lad said. It was one game too many, and I think he was a little bit out of order, the lad, the way he had to go at like Trippier.
Right. Len, what was your take on it?
I was really disappointed. Somebody texted me and said, "Have you seen what's going on?" Because I was out and I put it on Twitter, and I was disappointed in Trippier. To be honest, I don't think there was any need for him to get involved. Really, that's my take on it.
Owen, what was your take on it?
Nah, just the same. I think it's unusual, isn't it? Because Trippier, he is a model professional. It's like it's out of character, isn't it? I don't think that's any sort of locker to do something like that. So, but I mean, the flip side is, again, he shouldn't have done it. I'm talking Trippier here. I mean, you know, in terms of the fan, I think Anders is right. He's probably been on the lash and just give it the big in. But the flip side is that it shows he cares. I think that Trippier does care.
Yeah,
the result and what have you. So, you know, there's emotion in it. You've got to accept that. But I think Trippier will probably he'll have woke up this morning and kind of regretted it because it doesn't look great. The cameras were straight on it, weren't they? I noticed in the pub. That's the first thing that they went to after the game. But
well, even Match of the Day. I've just watched Match of the Day there this morning, and even they showed the clip on Match of the Day. You know, so you know,
well, always look for a negative story somewhere, didn't it? When we,
without a doubt. I mean,
they
made light of it, I think, on Match of the Day. You know, but still, at the end of the day, you're right. I think Trippier have woken up this morning, Owen, and he'd be thinking, "Oh, I wish I hadn't have done that. I wish I'd just like walked away." Really.
You could. I think. Did you say? Again, I was in the pub and had a couple of pints, but he looked emotional, didn't he, when he was talking about it? Yeah. I think that he's kind of thinking, you know, I shouldn't have done that or whatever. And I could see it, obviously, you know, in terms of the emotion in Trippier. But I mean, like I say, the flip side is, of course, it's unprofessional and what have you. But at least he cares. You know what I mean? He's good with the results. He knows that, you know, there's higher standards expected and stuff like that. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt, I guess.
We are. Just to touch on the Borussia Dortmund game. Owen, you were over there through the week, weren't you?
I was. Took us 2 days to get over it as well. Like it's.
I bet.
It was a canny hike that we went to. We got the train in Manchester, flew from Manchester to Brussels, and then we hired a car from Brussels to Dortmund. So on the road quite a bit, like I. But again, you know, disappointed with the result, but I can never be too critical because I think sometimes you just got to take a reality check. And I know there's fans saying, well, you know, we'll have to realise where we are now and stuff like that, and we'll have to be sort of
realistic.
privy to criticism and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's just like, well, it's still early stages, isn't it? I still think it's a building.
Yeah, it is.
Building the sort of foundations and stuff like that. I think we're definitely a year ahead of schedule in terms of where
So, Owen, from what you're saying there, I agree with what you're saying there. Do you think we're a year ahead of ourselves with regards to Champions League?
I think so. I think we're a year ahead of ourselves in terms of the full project. Yeah. I think that last year we've made with bed, haven't we? That's the problem, and the sort of high standards and stuff like that. I mean, it's a great place to be, and I'm not saying that players and the manager and stuff like that can't be culpable if it's a bad performance or a bad result. People pay the money to go to watch a game. Your fans are entitled to their opinion, etc. But sometimes I just think a little bit of a reality check in terms of where we are, and definitely from a Champions League perspective. I was over in Milan as well, and the first thing that hits you, it overwhelms you how big these stadiums are and how loud they are. And the players probably need to get used to that, and so do the fans as well. I think that there's an element of that. I keep reading the atmosphere was rubbish and stuff like that. I mean, the fact that people have been on the drink for 2 or 3 days beforehand and stuff like that, and you get to the ground, it's a little bit overwhelming. But I mean, in terms of the experience, it was brilliant. Like the Market Square and stuff like that, where you drink with your pals and your family and stuff like that. That was brilliant. But in terms of the game, just again a little bit disappointing. I think that's Joe Linton's header was massive, wasn't it? I think
game changer.
1-1, you're back in the game. That's the thing, But injuries and again, not a cop out. I just think we're all literally on the bare bones, and if you're playing every 3 and 4 days, it's going to take its toll. Like that. I think
if you look at the last 2 games, I think you can forgive the defeat against Dortmund because they are very, very good, very experienced opposition in the Champions League. So I think you can forgive that, and I think that's where yesterday was a lot more disappointing. I think because, as you say, we've got injuries, but we had a good enough team yesterday to go down to Bournemouth and get a result, and it didn't happen.
But Eddie Howe said as much, didn't he, after the match? He sort of said that he was really disappointed. He thought they could do a lot better, didn't he?
Yeah.
You could see in his face and the way he was talking, he was really disappointed.
So hopefully, by the time we play Chelsea, Bruno will be back. Who else is due back? We should have
Isaac's due back. Botman, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully Botman. Harvey Barnes as well.
Let's talk to Harvey Barnes. He's coming back a little bit earlier, which that's a good sign.
I don't think he'll be fit. He might be off the bench, but he'd not even be nowhere near match fit. He hasn't played for 3 months, has he?
Yeah.
Do you not think yesterday as well? One of the big things for me in terms of when we've been winning and when we've been doing well, it's because we've had a good bench. And sometimes we've seen it in the Man City game, didn't we, the cup game, and it might even be another. In fact, Arsenal when we made the changes there. But I think Howe's plan B is that if you're in a tough game, he tries to contain the game for 60, 65, 70 minutes and makes those changes. Now we just couldn't do that yesterday because obviously there was no attacking threat on the bench whatsoever. I mean, obviously the 2 centre forwards are out, and I know we put Gordon up there and Joe Linton, but to me it doesn't work. I mean, we've seen that with Joe Linton. Gordon, I know it's early days, but I prefer him on the wing, like when he's instead of his back to goal.
Yeah. Okay, all good. Anything else, chaps? Anything else to touch on?
No, not from me.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're stuck for something to do next Saturday night, get yourselves along to the Bluebell and Jesmond, where Owen will be hitting the stage with the Pine Barrens, knocking out a few tunes. I'm sure it'll be a cracking night, and I'm sure he'll appreciate all the support. Are you looking forward to it, Owen?
I am, mate. Obviously, it's my first gig, so I'll be practicing for probably about 3, 4, maybe 5 months, actually. So it'll be just good to get one out of the way, It's like I liken it to the sort of football situation, the fact that you need match practice, you can do as much as you want, but you need a gig, you need to get out there and do a gig, So, but I'm looking forward to it. Should be a canny one.
Yeah, you'll have a cracking night, It's we'll be there to give you a bit of support, so Anders is very vocal. Anders, you'll probably hear him singing because he likes a bit sing-song. So,
I'm a good singer. Yeah,
especially after 2 pints.
If you need a backing vocalist, I'm there. So
actually, Paul, I can imagine you like karaoke in Benidorm. I can just picture you now.
Len, karaoke, yes. Right? Do you know Van Gogh, the painter?
Yeah.
If he heard Paul singing, he'd cut his other ear off. Right, to tell you. Anyway, right.
Anders, we'll bring a spare mic. If you're for the backing vocals, we'll bring a spare
I'll be there, son, don't you? I'll bring you on, mate, don't worry.
Right, guys. Great having you on the show. Great points. Great crack as usual. And Owen, we'll see you on Saturday.
Great.
For the gig, and best of luck. And I'll have a
Aye,
catch up
cheers.
with you on Saturday. Right, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of myself, Paul and Len and Owen, we'll see you all next time. Take care, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye bye now.
Yes.
David.